Truth.
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 Truth. Truth.
Welcome to Trusting the Truth with Samuel Tolley, where we view the world through the lens of Jesus Christ. We do not view Jesus Christ through the lens of the world. How you doing? This is Samuel Tolley with Trusting the Truth. Today I want to talk about another reason why I hate the Democrat Party. And I hate the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party hates parental rights. They hate parental rights. They don't want us to have the right to do anything. They seem to be totally in line with the Communist Party. I've spoke about the communist rules, or should I say the communist goals as outlined in the 1963 congressional record. One goal, number 17, it says, get control of the schools. It says, use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. I mean, think about that. Get control of the teachers' union. Put the party in line in textbook. Soften the curriculum. Right now, they took away educational requirements for graduating from high school in Oregon for the next couple of years. They took away the necessity of a exit exam in California years ago. Matter of fact, they even went so far as in California to make a law that's saying going 10 years in arrears, you can get your high school diploma, whether you graduated, finished the classes or anything. So that would definitely be in line with softening the curriculum. And when I say get control of the schools, if the Communist Party want to get control of the schools, then what do they want to do with that? Well, in their goal number 26, it says present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. And that's exactly what's going on in our schools today. We went through this big struggle, which we go through every year in the month of June, where they call it Pride Month. And this past Pride Month, many of the parents started stepping up because places like Target want to sell satanic clothing to their children. And some of these people just went overboard where they made bathing suits for men, female bathing suits for men with tuck-friendly fronts or whatever. But I didn't know what was coming next. And a son of mine, my youngest son, told me that October is National Coming Out Month. The month. So the LGBTQ plus folks, 1 month of the year was not enough. Now they're taking October as well. And they're indoctrinating this stuff in the schools. He told me that they were putting these lessons out for the children. And so I did some digging. and it's amazing the stuff that I've come up with. Let me show you a little short clip welcoming Coming Out Month.
Meantime, today marks the start of LGBT History Month, 31 days dedicated to honoring history. This morning, we go beyond the headlines to learn about the important dates. Pride Month is June, so why is LGBT History Month in October? We look back to the Stonewall Uprising, which was on June 28, 1969. It was the spark for the gay liberation movement, and the year following Stonewall, people marched to New York in what's now considered the first Pride Parade. LGBT History Month was created by a Missouri history teacher in October of 1994 and is on the National Education Association's list of commemorative months. It coincides with National Coming Out Day on October 11th and October 20th's Spirit Day, on which people wear purple to support LGBT youth. October 12th is also the day in 1998 that Matthew Shepard, a young gay man in Wyoming, was beaten to death in a hate crime. Shepard became the symbol for acceptance and equal rights. Now the month of October is a time to learn about LGBT history, but also celebrate the achievements of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people.
Here we are, folks. You know, they don't give us a Christian month that we can spread the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the schools, that we can tell everybody about the love of God. Or even they could just say, hey, this is Religious History Month. Anybody bring their own religion out there and celebrate it. And I would go for that because I think Christianity, matter of fact, I know Christianity will stand up to anything. So, you know, you can bring the Buddhists, you can bring the Muslims, you can bring the Hindus, you can bring all of them. You can bring the Satanists. As long as we can bring Christianity, as long as we can bring the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we'll stand up to it. But they keep that out. They don't want that nowhere near the public. They don't want that nowhere near the children. They want to indoctrinate our children and force feed them this stuff. And I didn't even know that this coming out month was created by a teacher, probably some socialist or communist. Like I say, get control of the schools because, see, they don't worry about getting control of old folks like me. They want to indoctrinate the children. So once the children grow up and they have children, they can keep recycling their nonsense and there will be nobody left to argue with them. Well, I'm still here, and there's many other folks that are still here, and we're going to stand up for the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're going to stand up for civility, and we're going to stand up for what is right. And just like I said in Isaiah 5:20, that they call bitter sweet and sweet bitter, good bad and bad good, we're going to stand up for what the Bible says is good. We're not going to shrink away from the gospel, or we're not going to shrink away from truth, no matter what, no matter who it offends, because they're offending us. They're offending Christians. So let's look at what's going on with these people. What are they trying to do with our children? So once my son gave me this information, I decided to go on, and he's in LA. So I decided to go on the LA Unified School District website to see what it had to say. And I couldn't find anything. And I'm looking. And so then there was a spot for the calendar. So here is the calendar for the month of October. October 2023. And there's nothing on this calendar. Zero. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. So the thing that he showed me, which I'll show you now before I get into it, he gave me a clip of this national coming out. And it's got the school's logo in the lower right-hand corner. And I couldn't figure it out. I said, wait a minute. If this is out, how come it's not showing up anywhere? Well, I'll get back to why it didn't show up in a little while. But let me get to this other sheet. And this is from the school, the LA Unified School District. You know, you can't see the logo because I had to print it out. But in fact, what's going on here is it says LGBT History Month. So they created a month for people or students to learn about folks who had a sexual proclivity that was different than the average individual. Now, we've had history classes. I've had history all my life. I love history. I still study history. But never in any grade level that I was in school was there a period set aside, was there a history lesson set aside, was there a history day, month, or anything based on people's sexual preferences. It was based on what the individual did in society during their lifetime, whether it was good or whether it was bad. That's what the history is about. When I read about World War II, when I read about World War I, the Civil War, when I read about scientists when I read about lawyers, when I read about the Civil Rights Act, when I read about all this stuff, it's not about people's sexual proclivities. If somewhere along the line their sexual proclivity has some basis into what is happening in history, some of it may come out. Generally, it didn't. But this is a whole month set aside for people who are sodomites, lesbians, and the like. So, and it says current commendations, LGBT History Month. Bisexual, transgender, LGBT History Month marks and celebrates the achievements of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. The achievements. Why? Like I said, this is the Democrat Party. By and large, this is the stuff they stand for. And why we have to isolate and segment people into sections? So now we're going to segment folks based on their sexual proclivities and talk about their achievements. In the United States, LGBT History Month is celebrated in October to coincide with National Coming Out Day on October the 11th, which is tomorrow, based on the 10th, the day of this live stream. Head on over to Gleason for additional resources. That's a homosexual LBGT website that'll give you all kinds of stuff that Christians don't want to see. Okay? And then it goes into other things. I'm not going to even get into page 2 of this. This is unnecessary. Let's get into the workflow. Let's look at this National Coming Out Day Week of Action Toolkit. Elementary. So we got this Week of Action Toolkit for elementary children. This is amazing. And like I said, you can't find this on the school district's website easily. You can find it. Matter of fact, I found this on another site. And then once I got here, I was able to find it on the school's website. But if you just go on to LA Unified School District.org and try to scan through there, you would think as much as they're celebrating this stuff, they would have it front and center. But I think it's not front and center because they don't want parents to see it. They don't want parents to be involved. They don't want parents to complain of what their children are being subjected to. You know, if the FBI and the CIA weren't so busy chasing after mothers and fathers that are going to school boards complaining about what's going on with their children, they may have been able to help Israel thwart what happened. But they didn't have any intelligence. Nobody have intelligence. They're spending their time chasing MAGA Republicans. They're chasing Christians. They're going into Catholic churches, monitoring them. They've probably been in the Protestant churches too. And they're talking about MAGA Republicans are the most dangerous people. Why they're letting millions of folks come in through the southern border. We may have, who knows how many thousands of terrorists may be here already. They may be, and then they fly them throughout the nation. They may be going different places, collecting weapons, waiting on the signal. When can we destroy the United States? And we may be hit from all states. Who knows? Because they don't even know who's here. The folks that they let through the border, they haven't kept up with. And besides those millions that they let through the border, there's been millions that they didn't catch. Okay, so this LA Unified School District takes pride in the LGBT community. This toolkit has been created to provide educators a variety of sample lesson plans and activities in adherence with the California Fair Education Act. The following material can be adopted to meet the unique needs of your students. See, in California, they made a law where you got to teach this stuff. But I'm sure it's not just limited to the Golden State. Let's continue to look at this. National Coming Out Day, Week of Action, elementary. This stuff was set up for elementary age children, elementary school children. Okay, let me get back to it. In this toolkit, you will find identity map activities, prepare students to think critically about identity and intersectionality. No, it's not prepared to think critically, it's to indoctrinate them. It's that enforces critical indoctrination of this leftist, godless, communist, secularist, degenerate stuff on our kids. Art projects. You got to try to make it fun in elementary school. Daily quotes, which can be read during class while announcements or in class at the start of each day. Then they got a Monday through Friday brief biographies of an important LGBTQ person or advocate to spotlight inclusive lesson plans, activities. Books should be made available in the school library through open book donations. At the end of this, I'm going to show you one wild book. There's many others that this website will lead you to. Parents need to be on guard. Parents, you need to pay attention to what's going on. You need to watch your children and be careful. You can't afford to leave them in the arms of these folks or in the care of these folks without you monitoring them, because they're being indoctrinated every day. And don't think you can take your child to church on Sunday and maybe Wednesday night, and that's going to compete with 5 days a week, 4 to 8 hours a day of indoctrination of this stuff. It's not going to work. Okay. National Coming Out Day. Help build community and spotlight the famous inclusive work of LAUSD educators and amplify student work and voice. So they got them making some kind of identity map. One thing, they never talk about the consequences of homosexuality and lesbianism and transgenderism and changing your bodily functions and destroying your sexual apparatus and all this stuff. They don't talk about this stuff. They come in with this stuff, this intersectionality. These ideas like, okay, say, I'm a black man. Say if I'm a fat black man who's a homosexual and got a broken leg, then I might fit into a whole lot of these little squares. And the more of these squares you fit into, the more of a significant person you are, I think, according to this nonsense. Instead of just judging everyone on the content of their character, they're sexualizing they're sexualizing too. Sexualizing and segmenting everyone into little characters, into little boxes. And we're supposed to fit in these boxes. And then they put all the little boxes together. Now, the people who are not welcome in the boxes are Christian conservatives, mostly white and definitely not black or Hispanic or Asian. Christians are not welcome. They claim they welcome everybody. And I saw a picture. Let me get here. I saw a picture on the internet with a bunch of folks with a big old sign. I should have posted, said "Queers for Palestine." That told me two things off the top. That told me, obviously, that the educational system has failed those folks. I'm not talking about theological. I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm talking about the educational system has failed those folks. Because here they are. Israel is the most democratic place in the Middle East. And the folks in the Islamic belief system will not tolerate the queers. I heard what it was in Iran, they threw them off of buildings. These people are standing up here talking about queers for Palestine. If the Palestinians took over, or if the Muslims took over the whole thing after they got rid of the Christians and those folks, you're next. You queers for Palestine, you guys don't have a clue. I mean, you're so warped in your thinking that they got you thinking that they're your allies when they're your worst enemies and you don't even know it. Let's get past this intersexuality. So then you got this coming out day. What does it say? Please upload copies of your identity map, activities, and responses. The writing prompts by clicking here and scan a RQ code. I guess they got these little kids listing their genders and whatever they are, putting it on the board. Everyone is welcome, but if you say, I'm a conservative Christian and I'm not a cisgender, I'm a boy, and I don't believe that girls can become boys or boys become girls, they're not going to welcome that thing on that board. Not at all. You parents need to get this information. Get this information, download this thing, and look what you're coming up against. National Coming Out Day. After students complete the identity map activity, you can have students engage in a gallery walk of everyone's identity map. Then have students respond to one or two of the following written prompts. Lastly, engage students in a class discussion. Who am I? What did I learn about my identities? Well, you should already know who you are and whose you are. Something new I learned about someone in my class today was, oh, Johnny thinks he's a girl. What were some of your identities that were the same or different than your classmates? They're encouraging this stuff. And you can bet your sweet bippy that they're discouraging any complaints about it. What does it mean to feel good about myself? How can I express that like who I am? We've gotten so warped. Our children have been so hurt. When I was a child, we used to go out and play in the dirt, or we'll go to the park or the school and we play in the sand. We had steel merry-go-round, steel bars, steel chin-ups, steel everything. And now when you go to many of these places, it's all plastic. And there's no sand, and most of them, they're just rubber padding. And the kids are just soft. And those are kids that you can get to go outside. Because many kids, they just sit in the house and twiddle their thumbs, working on their computers. We're sissifying this community that we live in. Okay, what does it say? How can I be proud of who I am and celebrate others? Why should you have to celebrate others? Why is this a prerequisite of going to school? I mean, I'm not talking about denigrate people or don't like people, but what has this got to do with anything? Well, it's got to do with this. I'm supposed to like and celebrate the LGBTQ and people and make them happy or happy about themselves, and I'm not supposed to talk against it. If you're growing up in a Christian environment, that is evil, that is sinful, and you're not supposed to be having to deal with that. Or you don't have to denigrate people, but you don't have to acknowledge it as being good and normal either. So they're putting all this pressure on these little kids. Please upload. Let me see what it says here. Please upload copies of your identity map activities. Okay, we've had enough of the identity map. Now this next one. Wow. This next one is something else. This next one National Coming Out Day, Week of Action. So they list these 5 people. So this is the week of action from October the 9th through the 13th. And these are people we're supposed to celebrate, or our children are supposed to celebrate. And by the way, at the bottom of the page, you see where it says HHPS /achieve.lsud.net/human-relations. That's how you get this thing, and a whole bunch of other garbage. There's no way in the world this would have been easy to figure out going through the normal process of the school's website. I even tried to type in National Coming Out Day, and I couldn't get to this thing. Like I said, I had to go out of the school district's website altogether, look up National Coming Out Day, find a link that brought me back into the school district that gave me this. So you can't tell me they were trying to not hide this from the parents. They don't want the parents to see it because the parents don't want this crap. Monday, it was Jazz Jennings, is an American YouTube star, spokesmodel, television personality, LGBT rights activist. She is also an inspiration for the national-wide event, Jazz and Friends National Day of School and Community Readings. This was a little boy, about 2 years old, who was confused. And his mother, I believe, and maybe his father too, they took this boy and they had his genitals removed. Now, I don't know what age he was when that happened, but they tried to convert this boy to a girl. And this person has been on reality TV growing up, trying to live this life that is not real, trying to live a life of a girl. Now, I've seen horror stories about this person. You know, I mean, right now, I don't know if it's the natural progression of this person's life, or it was all the drugs that she has to consume. Excuse me, I'm not going to say it's a woman, it's still DNA's a man. But this person has gotten huge. And I've seen where this Jazz's mother was getting on her about dilating. Now, if you don't know what's going on, when a man subjects himself to vaginoplasty, I think that's what you call it, that is when they invert the penis, excuse me for getting graphic, and they make this artificial vagina. It takes months for this thing to heal. And then after it heals, the person has to continuously dilate themselves, which in essence is stick like a dildo or some object to keep the man-made vagina from closing, because the tissue in the body of this person wants to close. It feels it's a sore. Those are my words. And so they have to continuously, they need, and I don't know if it's forever, to dilate this thing so they can keep it open. And in many cases, when these people go into this procedure, they can't feel nothing sexually. In many cases, just like when the male or when the female, they try to make a man, this is disgusting. But when a female tries to convert to a male, they give her testosterone, which swells up the clitoris, and then they make something. I don't know. I don't want to call it a penis, but whatever it is, it doesn't function like a normal one does. At any rate, when these people go through this stuff, they hurt their own sexual ability. And in many cases, they're done. They don't tell people this stuff. You know, they just cut them up, shoot them full of drugs, and tell them that you'll be okay. So they want this person, Jazz, to represent, hey, This is fun. And they even got this book. Now, this next person, today, Tuesday. So this person is who? Marsha P. Johnson was an American gay liberation, I guess this person no longer alive, activist and self-identified drag queen. Known as an outspoken advocate for gay rights, Johnson was one of the prominent figures in the Stonewall Uprising. So here we got this man that's dressing like a woman, and for whatever reason, this person not here anymore, but they want to celebrate this. So this person was a figure in the Stonewall Uprising. That's when a bunch of homosexuals rioted against the police. And that's one of their, I don't know, 9/11 days, or when they say that they turn the corner and we're going to be seen. Now tomorrow, which I believe is supposed to be coming out day, Elliot Page, or tomorrow's Tuesday. Excuse me, Wednesday. I'm sorry. Elliot Page is a Canadian transgender actor. He was featured on the cover of Time magazine in 2021, becoming the first openly trans man to do this. He has received several accolades during his professional acting career. I mean, wow. What did he do? Oh, he got on Time magazine. We're supposed to be excited about that. The children are supposed to be excited. They didn't even say, oh, I guess he was on Time magazine because he was an LGBTQ person. And that's supposed to be something these elementary children are supposed to think is great. Lashia Clareton is a WNBA star athlete who announced in 2015 that this person is a they, identify as Black, gay, female, non-cisgender, and Christian. I don't know what any of that is supposed to mean. So this person, I guess, is a man that's identifying as Black. Maybe this person's biracial. I don't know. Gay, okay, female, non-cisgender, and Christian. Well, I guess you can identify as anything, but that doesn't make you a Christian. The Bible is clear that God made it man, he made woman, he made him in his own image, and he didn't leave it open for us to dictate what it is. Nor did he make the rules available for us to dictate and change them as far as our sexuality and how it's supposed to be and how it is supposed to be in his eyes. But you can say anything you want. And so, it's interesting to me when they'll put out stuff like this, but they will never allow for a Bible-believing Christian to get around these children and say, okay, that's fine. That's what they believe. Now, let me tell you what the Bible really says. They're not going to allow that. They never want you to do that. That's the separation of church and state argument they run with. So that's Thursday. And then Friday, you got Carl Nasby. I'm not sure the pronunciation. Is a defensive lineman in the NFL. And in June 2021, he came out on social media as gay. He is the first openly gay active NFL player. I'm sure there probably was others, and they probably kept it quiet. And I ain't got a problem with them keeping it quiet. I don't, frankly, on a personal level, believe that we should be sitting over here talking about people's sexual proclivities. If the guy was any good as an NFL player, they should be talking about, hey, kids, this guy's an NFL player and he's great. Maybe one day you can be like that, but they're not talking about that. The only thing they're highlighting during this whole National Coming Out Day week of action is that these people are sexually conform to an identity that's antithetical to a biblical life worldview. That these people have either modified their bodies or their sexual preference isn't normal. Yes, I did say that. It's not normal. Yeah, they might believe it's normal, but if you're talking from a biblical worldview, and that's what I am, it's not normal. Okay. What do we got here? National Coming Out Day. Like I said, you can go to that website at the bottom there, click on it, and you can print this out yourself. And you're going to get, there's a lot more information around books. And then you can see you get to the degenerate stuff that they're feeding our children. So they got this PRIDE acronym. Isn't that cute? Monday, positive. Tuesday, respectful. Wednesday, inclusive. Thursday, diverse. Friday, equitable. Monday, first find out who you are and do it on purpose. Why do you need, look, I tell my kids know who they were. Why do you need to find out who you are? Then it's talk about Dolly Parton. I guess it's a Dolly Parton quote. I would think that it had nothing to do with this. Tuesday, when all Americans are treated as equal, no matter who they are or whom they love, we are all more free. So that was Barack Obama. Does he really believe in all Americans should be treated equally? If that was the case, I couldn't see why would he allow the DOJ under his administration spy on Trump when he was running for president. Was that being treated equally? And as far as I know, he helped coordinate the whole mess. We went to the whole Trump year behind the DOJ and the FBI sitting over there saying that Trump was a Russian stooge, that the Russians helped get him in office when Hillary Clinton was the one that paid for the dossier in the first place, and Obama and everybody knew it. So does he really believe what he said? Or he only believes that when it pertains to somebody's sexual identity? And that is sexual identity that is adverse to the normal sexual identity of most people. We deserve to experience love fully, equally, without shame and without compromise. Elliot Page, Canadian actor, assigned female at birth, and later publicly came out as a trans man in 2020. Okay, I was assigned a man. Can I come out as a elephant? And will people respect me as that? I mean, this is nonsense. When you talk about when you were assigned at birth, does God assign things? Or these people don't believe in God? Since they don't believe in God and they believe in evolution, did the evolutionary theory assign what your sexual being was at birth? I mean, they use language, they twist language, and they get people to believe nonsense. It's easier and easier for me these days to understand how how the Nazis just mess up the minds of the average German citizen. You keep feeding them poison and they'll believe it. I think it was either Hitler or Goebbels who said, if you tell people a lie long enough and a big enough lie, then they'll believe it. So you telling people, well, this is what you were assigned at birth. This is nonsense. This is what you are. You're the one that's denying reality. Friday, we declare that human rights are for all of us, all the time, whoever we are and wherever we are from, no matter our class, our opinions, our sexual orientation. Whoever Ban Ki-moon, a South Korean politician and diplomat. Okay. All right. So he says, what did he say? Whoever we are, wherever we were born, no matter the class or opinions or our sexual orientation. I see he didn't say anything about religion beliefs. Because if you're going to, you want to hold this premise, then those of us that don't believe in this stuff should be respected just as much. But we're not. Look at this. Look at this. So after they indoctrinate our kids for a week, they want them to sign a pledge. Now you're going to put pressure on some little kid. Now, Johnny, you need to sign the National Coming Out Day pledge. everybody else is, how many kids are going to stand up to that kind of pressure? How many kids are going to stand up to pressure like that? Little kids. This is elementary school. Little kids are taught to respect your elders. Well, most of them these days, who knows? But you generally like your teacher and you want to respect your teacher and you want your teacher to be proud of you and you want to follow your teacher. So you're a little kid. So, they got this big giant logo with all these rainbows on it. And these kids won't teach in school that the rainbow originated from the Bible, that it was God's symbol of his promise that he would never destroy the earth again by water. Because he destroyed the earth because all the thoughts and intentions of men were evil all the time. And Satan has always counterfeited. Satan has always tried to masquerade as God, always tried to convince folk because he wanted to be God, and has always tried to up God. And so while he's got these people running around with a rainbow thinking that they're unique, Satan is saying he's trying to thumb his nose at God. But Satan's going to end up in the lake of fire forever, tormenting day and night without rest. And all those folks that follow him too. But here, little Johnny, he don't understand this stuff. That's why parents need to. So what does it say? This is to certify that little Johnny hereby pledges to, excuse me, use kind language when talking about all teachers, staff, classmates, and their families, even if they are different from themselves. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Be an upstander by sticking up for others, if safe to do so. Otherwise, they will ask a grown-up for help. Encourage and teach others to be allies. You see, the problem with this is this. This language sounds so nice. But when they're talking about being an ally, they're talking about being an ally to the LGBTQ crowd. Then they're just talking about being an ally to your fellow students. And really, I would hope people will talk respectful to everybody. But this being an upstander by sticking up for others is cold, I believe. Sticking up for that transgender or gay person. And look, people, we need to understand something. I don't care what the LGBTQ group says. These folks are not born that way. Environmental situations or whatever. But they are busy trying to recycle or not recycle to get new people. Since they're not born that way, you gotta recruit. And if you recruit them young enough, then when they're older, they can recruit. Then you got a steady stream of them. In our school system, the place that's designed specifically to educate children is the place that is being used to destroy them. And the education system is run by the teachers union, and the teachers union is beholden to the Democrat Party. And the Democrat Party therefore hates our children. And they hate parental rights. So this National Coming Out month is another stab in the eye of God-fearing people. Now, like I said, you need to get on the website. You need to get off. Don't be lazy. And don't say, oh, not my child. Yeah, your child or anybody's child. and not your child. It might be your child's friend. You need to help your child learn how to fight. This stuff is not to be played with. This is deadly. Now, I went on the website and I scrolled through there in the back section. They got an area where they're showing all kinds of different places that you can get additional information. One of them was about a bunch of books. And I want to show you this one book I saw. Let's see here. Let's see. This book. When Aiden became a brother. So they got this nice little black family. I guess it's a black family. Their children look black. The mother, I don't know about dad, but nevertheless, I don't care about if he was mixed or they have an interracial marriage. I care more about what it says in this preface to the book. Read it. When Aiden was born, everybody thought he was a girl. Up until 5 or 6 years ago, it was no question. No one ever worried about it or even thought differently. I mean, this is stupid. So when this person was born, everybody thought he was a girl. Well, his parents gave him a pretty name. His room looked like a girl's room, and he wore clothes that other girls like wearing. Look at this, that's Aiden, realized he was a trans boy, Aiden and his parents fixed the parts of his life that didn't fit anymore. And he settled happily into his new everyday. What does that mean? What does that mean? Number one, it's talking about after Aiden decided, well, I'm not a girl. Look, when I was a little boy, I used to play with my sister, my older sister. I played with my friends, my boyfriends. We'd do different things and stuff. But my older sister liked to play jacks and hopscotch. So when I didn't have nothing else to do, I'd play with her. And I'd beat her in jacks and I'd beat her in hopscotch. But thank God I'm not around. I don't have crazy parents and I'm not a little kid now, because if I was playing jacks and hopscotch with my sister, they might have thought that I was a girl. And I never once thought that I was a girl. I always knew I was a boy. I just want to play with my sister. So this was crazy. And anyway, so what happened is, we have to look at this thing. It says, so they apparently start giving Aiden chemicals to help him, testosterone and stuff, and maybe they got rid of her vagina. I mean, this is dumb. It made some kind of weird thing. Okay. Then mom and dad announced that they're going to have another baby. And Aiden wants to do everything he can to make things right for his new siblings from the beginning. From choosing the perfect name and creating a beautiful room to picking out the cutest onesies. But what does making things right actually mean? And what happens if he messes up? With a little help, Aiden comes to understand that mistakes can be fixed with honesty and communication. And he already knows the most important thing about being a big brother, how to love with his whole self. When Aiden became a brother is a heartwarming book that will resonate with transgender children, reassure any child concerned about becoming an older sibling, and celebrate the many transitions families can experience. Then this book is from age 4 to 8. From age 4 to 8. You can't tell me these folks aren't indoctrinating our children. And they got a bunch of other books on the LAUSD website like this. It's up to parents to wake up. Like I said, communist rule. Number 17, get control of the schools. They got control of the schools. Get control of the teachers union. They got control of the teachers union. Goal number 26, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. They're doing all of that. It said, goal number 15, capture one or both of the political parties in the United States. They have captured the Democratic Party. It's up to us people that are still alive and still understand what the heck is going on to fight this mess. If we don't fight it, our children are going to be destroyed. Folks that are grown or elderly, if you don't take a stand for this generation coming up, this country is gone. And you shouldn't be so selfish as just to worry about you. You need to worry about your grandchildren. You need to fight for the childhood that you used to have. We used to go play in the street. We used to get dirty. We used to be down the street and didn't have to worry about anybody because the people down the street will look after us. Well, these days, we don't know what to do. And we can't, and it was safe to go to school. Well, it's not safe to go to school anymore. Not the public school. Maybe not even charter schools. Maybe folks need to think about homeschooling. But if you love your children, you better think about something. And you better do something. Because this government is doing nothing. Think about it. This is Samuel Tolley. And I'm out.